It is challenging to read my poem and make the video simultaneously, but I will do the very best that I can. So excuse me for the lack of eye contact, and hopefully the message will be enough. The poem is called Notorious. It was written on World Autism Day, 2018, and it was inspired by a certain educator. It is a blur, smudged in my eyes and ears by my then 5-year-old son crying, shrieking, no attempts at shielding his fear and horror as he stood in a corner, surrounded by men, towering over him, keeping him there. I reached between them and relieved my son of his imprisonment. Another day, another time, called to school because of his behavior. Shrieking, no attempts at shielding his fear and horror as he stood in a corner. My heartbeat now stuttering, rising still in my chest 10 years later. He insisted on swinging, someone said, as I held his quivering, still crying self on my lap. Intuitively, I rocked him, held his ear to my heart, smudged in my eyes and ears by the cause of his being held prisoner in a corner with a school psychologist and an administrator as his jailers. The cause was his desire to swing. A roar again in my ears. Wait, his desire to swing? On that swing to the north of the slide? My daughter reported seeing him dragged across campus. Later, I would learn swinging calms the vestibular sense for kids on the spectrum. It is a blur. I question my accuracy, yet some details I remember quite clearly. Another day, another time, called to school because of his behavior. This was all because he wanted to swing. He insisted on swinging, someone said, as I held his quivering, still self in my lap, and he wanted routine. He begged his teacher to let him stay with the other children. Another day, another time, called to school because of his behavior, sent home again, not educated again. My fault, they inferred again, and he needed to feel safe. I like him, his teacher said. He doesn't behave like this at home, I said. Silent glares. My then 5-year-old son's crying self on my lap. Intuitively, I rocked him. I held his ear to my heart, smudged in my eyes and ears by my then 5-year-old son's crying. And he was punished. He begged his teacher for something kindergarten educators shrieking. No attempt was made to shield his another day, another time, called to school because of his behavior. Should have recognized it is a blur. My heartbeat now stuttering, rising still in my chest 10 years later. School psychologist Notorious. Don't tell me he couldn't see what this was. He must have recognized it. Notorious. Written April 2nd, 2018 by Julie Jordan Scott.